Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
Then the government gets scared and them frame I up. They were targeting I for a couple of years. You know, robbing I, sticking I up, doing different things, raiding my house, searching my yard, till eventually in 1974 they framed I up for the murder of a white tourist.
Okay.
And their system sentenced I to hang, and I stayed in jail 5.5 years before I escaped. I escaped before the hurricane. The hurricane just came to legalize I. By tomorrow, I have to go into Addis Ababa to renew my status. Every 5 years, we have to pay a substantial amount of money, which is a very contentious matter. We shouldn't, in this day and age, have. Right now, when we first started, it was just 200 US, which was about 10,000 birr. Now it is 300 US, and they have devalued the birr. So now it's almost 24,000 birr you have to find.
Wow.
Which is very, very, very difficult to raise that amount of money just to be stayed into Ethiopia. And I'm here already 30 years. So the government is very inconsiderate in that manner. And I have to make more representation.
Did they get the residents that they just recently gave to the ones in Shashamane? Was I one of the recipients?
Yeah, I was the first one I was the first one to get it because before I had an investment license, so I used that advantage, and I was the first one to receive that 5 year. So after the 5 years, you can apply for citizenship through having a practicing herbal practitioner. The people and them have come to I in a oneness because a lot of them get sick, illnesses that doctors cannot cure, and I've been able through herbal treatment to bring them back, to take care of them, to heal their babies when they get burned, to cure them from cancer, from high blood pressure, diabetes, etc. From, whatever illness that's using the natural means. I've been able to. I use especially myrrh. It's the strongest antibacterial agent in the herbal kingdom. So I use it especially for common illnesses like Georgia and amoebic dysentery. It's the most powerful remedy for that. And then I also use crystallized aloes. You cut the bottom of the aloes and you allow it to drain down. When it drain down, it becomes black. You dry that in the sun, come like a crystallized aloes. You pong it down, turn it into a powder, and then you mix it up with water. It's a master to help clear the stomach of any kind of things that poison in the body system. So we use that to clear out any kind of illnesses that the person might have on their skin or in their body or any internal dysfunction. We use that aloes to clean them out. We also use it to lower high blood pressure, to lower sugar. And these medicines are proved simple but very effective. And then we use artemisia for malaria. So these are the stress that we try to put as the emphasis in which we have integrated it for our people on that level. When I first came here, when I made a proper assessment, at that time, the youth and them in this junior secondary school especially, they had no facilities. A lot of them were still on the trees being educated. There were no desks. There were not sufficient school rooms because these things had been neglected. So like I told you before, we had come as a federation to build a vocational training center, and that did not come true. When the brother called Ras came to Ethiopia, and he reasoned if I show what are the needs that we see amongst us. I show him His Majesty say all who love Ethiopia build schools. So when we went into the junior secondary school, we decided to commit ourselves to assist in organizing the community and to build a 4-classroom structure. So we financed most of the works. We got the community to bring in wood and different things and to mix the chica and different things like that to give certain amount of labor. And then we sponsored the buying of the cement and all the works and paying up the workers. And in one primary school, they called the Edomada, which was originally first built by the Federation in the early days. We built a 4-classroom structure there. And then in another school in the center of the town called Bugagudina, we also built a 3-classroom structure and helped them to complete the building of a library. So in that early day period, to I and I, that was the emphasis. You need to make sure that the youth and them gets some basic education within the system. So the first thing we wanted to know, if man want to come home, is there land available that we could survive? Because 1 or 2 brothers came with the second time I returned to Ethiopia to suss it out. But when he came in, the reality was there is no land that we could really plant and be free up. Even here right now, you can't plant a ganja tree and be safe. They just give one of Cruz Hydra and 5 years jail for having a couple of trees in his hand and some seeds. So it is very repressive against I and I when it comes to our cultural practices. You know,
Yes.
they demonize ganja. The politicians, most of the youth and them in herb therapy, but the politicians and them subject to Babylon, trying and please Babylon, that have some draconian laws upon I and I. I can say certain times, like a couple of years ago, certain politicians had stirred up a certain vibes against the Amara people and all who in sympathy with them. This is still going on to a certain level because there's still a war going on in the north. There's in different proportions. That is where the government fighting against the militia up in Amara region. But they are quite resolute, so they will have to find some peaceful arrangement. But this is disgraceful because they were the most effective fighting force to keep up the TPLF and keep the government in power, but now they switch on them. But it's politics, you know, we know those things happen in life.
Yes.
But the reality is a couple of years ago, they had raised up that strike where they was burning everything red, gold, and green. And so they came and they tried to tackle the Bingi and they burned down Sister Alma's. She had a hotel, Lily of the Valley Hotel. They had burned it down and destroyed everything inside of it and attacked some of I and I homes and things like that. But it was pacified sufficiently, and we have dealt with it. We have overcome it. They came recently. They broke down part of our tabernacle, which now we are now repairing. So no mind what them do, we're still there. But they did that in preference to diverting a road line upon I and I. But now reality of life that they come back and on the other side where they get bribed not to enter, now they are forced to enter. For the federal government take over now. So we've been for a little bit of them trials and tribulation, but we have sustained those things, you know. Good thing, before I go through all the tribulation in Dominica, none of those things are really disturbed by because what I faced in DA was worse than everything that they tried to do to us. So there's nothing new under the sun. You just have to hold your faith and be strong. And Selassie will always show you that I and I will conquer them eventually. They will have to humble to I and I. So we persist, you know. Marcus Garvey said, kill your enemy with love, you know.
Gonna just go straight into the vibration.
Yeah.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice.
Come be a part of history and experience the sharing of wisdom from some of the most brilliant thought leaders in our community. Come see Muda Baruka, Styles P, Nori Muhammad, Lawrence Haja, Dr. Dorothy Holly, Dejaz Mach Kwasi, Deborah Hines, and Midwife Asasia impart their wisdom at Groundings with My Brothers and Sisters, a holistic health conference. A plant-based breakfast and lunch are included. Looking forward to seeing you there.
But the Almighty has manifested himself in physical form and was born as Lich Tafari Makonnen. Through hard work and diligence he attained the title of the Shashamane. When he fought in many wars and was crowned as Ras. By the will of the people he was given the title of Negos. And by destiny, no goose and a gas, the King of Kings. I and I are his children. One day we are gonna do where Marco say, take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Rastafari way. One day we are gonna give Jah thanks and praise. One day we are gonna do where Marco say, take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Rastafari way. One day we gonna free our mental slave. One day we are gonna live better. Be that listen, I see I speech and overstand every letter. One day we are gonna
Yes, family, greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Chasmach Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk. Welcome to Lion Talk and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Today we have an extra special guest. You can already see we dash with housekeeping everything. We have a direct line to the mountains of Zion, and we have one of our legendary Rastafari brethren with us here today. We have some challenges with the Wi-Fi. That is why we're skipping all of the regular formalities and getting straight into the story. I want to introduce to the global Rastafari Pan-African family, Ras Kabinda. Welcome, Ras Kabinda, to the Lion Voice Network.
Kadamawi Haile Selassie, holy name be praised. Give thanks, Rastaman. Give thanks.
And give thanks for the eye coming on this interview. I'm going to be calling this episode The Legend of Desmond Trotter, because when I was a young Ras coming into the movement, I heard this story about a Rastafari brethren who was unjustly lock up, and a hurricane came and blow down the prison, and him go straight to Zion. And you just hear these things, and you go about your life, and then you hear it again, and you think it's so fantastical, only to then learn that this is not a fantasy. This is a real testimony. And I want the eye to, before we get there, I want the eye to just introduce the eye self, where the eye was born, and take us through your journey to Rastafari. What caused the eye to embrace His Imperial Majesty Kadamawi Haile Selassie I, Ivinity. Just take us from that journey. Where were you born, and the journey to Rastafari?
Haile Selassie. I was born in a small Caribbean island. That is, the name of the island is called Waitikubuli, but the Babylonian system call it Dominica. But the original name of the Caribbeans is Waitikubuli. I grew up there as a young man, growing up in stages of life, and at an early age get involved in the struggle. I was more involved on a political level. I was a political activist with different movements that we organize ourselves in to offer an alternative to the colonial, neo-colonial setup. I used to be like an author like myself. I used to print a lot of magazines together with different brothers called Black Crime, Manico Movement, etc. We used to move with a movement of New Dominica. We were active in the area of political consciousness. We were very closely affiliated with Brother Morris Bishop in Grenada, and we had that close linkage between ones and ones. He was the one who eventually came and was my lawyer at the time when they framed me up and charged me for murder. They set I up for murder because as a youth, I started in the struggle very early, 16 years. But by the time I was 19 years, we had organized the ghetto, Organized the ghetto in Dominica, 16 families that own most of the land in the country. So our struggle was mostly to organize the workers on those lands and try to organize them and make them recognize well it's time for collective ownership, So we took to the hills as young men seeking an alternative in life. In the early days, we was highly influenced by the Cuban Revolution and the struggle of the brothers and sisters in Southern Africa, especially men like Samora Machel, and these were the ones and ones we were more following in their movements, and the progressive leaders like Julius Nyeri and Nkrumah, etc. And as we grow in life, then we come to the fullness of His Majesty, and we start to understand the fullness of life and his stance and how the way he organized African unity, etc. And so the commonality in I and I struggle. But we had organized in Dominica to a level where all the ghetto youth and them was understanding what I was projecting. We were emphasizing a return to the land to make sure that we establish self-sufficiency, food self-sufficiency as the first fundamental in our liberty as an African people. So we were pushing that hard, and the youth and them was responding because Dominica is very young.
What year are we talking about? What year are we talking about when all of this is
1970. No, we're talking about between 1965 going on to 70. No, let me mixing it up. Between 1970 and 71 was them areas where we was more active, because I went into jail in 1974.
Okay.
Remember I started the struggle at 16, and at 1970, influenced by the movements in Trinidad and Tobago at the time of the social uprising in Trinidad. And we was following that up, and we formed a simple link with Morris Bishop in Grenada. We had close links with Walter Rodney in Guyana. And together we were formulating different strategies of liberation from the neo-colonial rule and a more socialist-oriented system of governance. So it was during those period of time. So at first I used to work with the movement for New Dominica, which was more socialist-oriented. And then gradually after 2-3 years, then I more moved into what we call the Manico movement, which was more like a guerrilla movement, where we recognize that in order to change the system, we might have to use other ways and means other than the normal format. So we had grown up with that levels where we recognize the need for organizing the ghetto, enlightening them in African consciousness, teaching them of the writings and the works of His Majesty, of Kiwan Nkrumah, Julius Nyeri, Samora Machel, Amilcar Cabral, because such information was greatly hidden. So we made it our task. So I used to print little newsletters and distribute it in the ghetto to raise the consciousness. So for our different activities, then the government gets scared and them frame I up. They were targeting I for a couple of years. Robbing I, sticking I up, doing different things, raiding my house, searching my yard, till eventually in 1974 they framed I up for the murder of a white tourist.
Okay.
And the system sentenced I to hang, and I stayed in jail 5.5 years before I escaped. I escaped before the hurricane. The hurricane just came to legalize I. But we escaped before the hurricane because all the time I was in the jail, I continued writing. And through different writings and the works of the other brothers and sisters on the outside, there was a social upheaval in the country where the corruption had reached such a level that everyone was disgusted. So everybody went on strike.
Stick a pin. I can't see the eye face. You have to keep your face in the camera there. Yes, sir. Beautiful. Yeah, man. Just remember to look into the camera so that we can see the eye.
Yeah. It was under the regime of Patrick John. He was the Prime Minister at the time. He was the one who passed the Dread Act. Under the Dread Act, you could shoot and kill a Rastaman anywhere you meet him, no case called. Under that act, they jailed 120 of I&I between 1974 and 1979. And when they sentenced I to hang, the next day they passed the Dread Act. And under that law, 120 young brothers and sisters were locked up because they lost any man with dreadlocks, 9 months in jail. Any kind of sympathetic appearance looking like an African, 9 months in jail. And at the same time, you could shoot and kill any Rasta man you see without fear of any reprisal. So under that law, 120 of I were jailed.
How many brethren were killed? Do we know how many brethren were killed?
Well, during that time, 120 were in prison, and about 27 of I were killed in cold blood in the mountain and the villages.
Wow.
When the Almighty has manifested himself in physical form and was born as Lich Tafari Makonnen. Through hard work and diligence he attained the title of the Shashamane. When he fought in many wars and was crowned as Ras. By the will of the people he was given the title of Negos. And by destiny, Nobus and Agas, the King of Kings. I are his children. One day we are gonna do where Marco say, take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Rastafari way. One day we are will give Jah thanks and praise. One day we are gonna do where Marco say, take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Rastafari way. One day we gonna free our mental slave. One day we are gonna live better. We that listen, I see I speech and overstand every letter. One day we are gonna live well. Spread I listen, I see I teach and trap the wicked down the hell. Escape Vatican spell. Escape the brave I are the slave that rebel. Safe in a Zion we will dwell. I see I listen, I see I face while treading as him angels. One day we are gonna do where Marco say, take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Rastafari way. One day we are will give Jah thanks and praise. One day we are gonna do where Marco say, take a long journey across the ocean wave. One day we'll do things Rastafari way. One day we gonna free our mental slave. One day you're heaven and the earth. Everywhere you search, man a hill I listen, I see I the first. One day the guns will stop burst. One day the preacher will go tell the youth the truth in the church. One day the youths will stop curse. One day the sun will provide the energy for do the work. One day there will be no more pain and hurt. One day we take a aeroplane and splurge.